Hi everyone, I'm Noelle, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about exclusive pumping. My daughter is now a month old and we have been through it with the feeding and the breastfeeding, and I knew from the start that I wanted to breastfeed, and the reason I was so adamant about breastfeeding is that there are studies that show that if you give a child breast milk over formula, that there is a slightly reduced risk of them ending up with diseases such as Crohn's disease, which I have and my mother have. And so, obviously it doesn't necessarily mean she's not going to get it, but we are hoping that it would reduce her risk of ending up with the disease that we have. So I really have wanted to stay away from formula as much as possible. So far we have been able to stay away from it, but it's just been a conviction of mine that we really don't need to go there. From the start, if you've been watching our other videos, Madison lost 11% of her body weight in the hospital, and the pediatricians were not happy with that, and so we were trying to supplement with breast milk. And so from her third day of life, she was already, or actually her second day of life, she was already taking a bottle, and we were just trying to make sure that she was getting as much as possible. Later we found out that she had a tongue tie that was preventing her from getting the best transfer from the breast, and she also had a very, very poor latch. So what happened is she would fall asleep at the breast and not be completely full, and so she wasn't gaining weight as fast as she should. Once we began to feed her more and more full bottles, she began to gain weight and do much better, sleep better, everything. My excruciating pain from her poor latch continued, and we did end up at 3 weeks getting her tongue tie clipped just a little bit, not the full procedure, and it didn't seem to make that much of a difference with her latch. I can get her latched okay sometimes, but she has to be in the right frame of mind. I have to be in the right frame of mind. It's extremely frustrating for both of us, and so it can be a cause of great stress and anxiety and just, yeah. And so right now at a month, we are basically broaching the decision of where are we now? Are we at a point where I'm going to try to transition her back to the breast, full-time, part-time? What are we doing? And I have, gone back and forth. I've seen lactation consultants. I have seen, we take her to the chiropractor. We've considered other kind of body work, and we've put a considerable chunk of money into this, and it's kind of to the point where it's like, well, what is best for her and what is best for me? She is gaining well with what we're doing, which is basically 90 to 95% bottles, 5 to 10% nursing every day. And I've kind of come to the peace that for the most part I am going to be exclusively pumping. Now there are times that I will try to nurse, but for the most part, for her actual feeding needs, I do think that she gets the best nutrition and fullness from the bottle at this point. And I really, our next step would be, if we wanted to get her back to the breast, we would need to do probably a laser surgery, a laser procedure. It's not really surgery, but my husband and I aren't really comfortable with that. It is traumatic for the child, and I don't feel like she has the severe enough tie that it's going to affect the rest of her life. I think that it is released enough now that she will be totally fine. It just means she still has a painful latch, or has a harder time not getting a painful latch type of thing. And so, I've really come to this point of just kind of making peace with that and saying, you know what, I'm going to be a pumping mom. I never thought I would be. I actually never even bought a breast pump. I had a manual pump that I got long ago, which by the way I tried, and it's the even flow one. Horribly painful. Will not be using that. And I was actually given a used Medela Pump and Style Advance, and but what I didn't realize was one of the little tube things on the faceplate was broken, and so when I came home from the hospital, and it was like, oh, I didn't realize I would need to be pumping the day I got home from the hospital. We didn't have bottles, we didn't have the bottle drying rack set up, we didn't have the pump parts ready, we didn't have anything ready to go. So it was like we had to stop by the store on the way home from the hospital to get bottles and prep everything real quick and get the pump and try to figure everything out. And yeah, that pump had terrible suction. Now I realize that you can buy new faceplates. I did not know that, and that would completely fix the problem, and the pump would be new. Well, the pump would be good. However, it is still a used pump, and I know all the used pump stuff. And so I said, you know what, let's just get a new one. So I ended up getting the Pump and Style Advanced Tote, which is awesome because it's in the bag. The pump is in the bag, and you just take it with you, and it's great. Self-contained. It's really cool. But I never thought I would be an exclusive pumper. I remember watching a YouTube mom's video months and months ago, and she was talking about how she didn't ever think she would be exclusively pumping her daughter who wouldn't latch, and I kind of was like, well, that's weird. Like, didn't you like see a lactation consultant? Didn't she go? And you know, I feel bad now that I judged her like that, because I'm in the exact same situation, and I've done everything that I feel comfortable with at this point. Obviously there is more we could do, but we're not the place where we feel like we can put Madison through that for the results that may or may not happen, you know. So that is where I am, and honestly I wish I had done research beforehand, because I did not know anything about pumping really. I put it on too high of a setting. I was doing it for too short of a time, and my supply has just got up and down, and like I've always had enough for her, but it kind of got to the point where she was wanting more and more, and like going through growth spurts, and I'm like, I don't have quite that. Like, I'm barely making enough milk, but I didn't know what I was doing with my supply, and I was drinking the tea, and I was taking the More Milk Plus supplement, and then I stopped because I thought I had too much supply. Crazy. And I didn't know anything about the rules of pumping, and so I've been researching. A friend sent me a whole bunch of documents that were so helpful. So basically my kind of schedule routine is that right now I strive to pump every 2 hours. I'm trying to get 8 to 10 in a day, but of course it's not like you have to do it every 2 hours. The quantity is more important than the time frame. So if I pump every 1.5 to 2 hours during daylight hours that I'm home and not doing anything else, then I can kind of go like a 4-hour stretch if I'm doing errands or something out of the house. And then also during the night I can, you know, sleep for little chunks of 3 to 4 hours that Madison sleeps. Then when she wakes up, I pump, and just, you know, not making it like, oh my gosh, I have to set my alarm for 2 hours and do that the whole 24/7. Maybe if I had started sooner I would have needed to do that, but now I don't feel like I have to do that. I've also restarted the tea. I have restarted taking the supplement. I'm also using fennel essential oil to promote healthy supply, so I can drink 1 drop of it in a little glass of water, or also you can put it in coconut oil on the breast. There's just, and drinking almond milk and putting that in my tea and coffee and everything. I'm just really working hard to try to increase the supply just a little bit, not so that I have a crazy oversupply, but just so that I have a little bit more than she needs so I can stay ahead of her. I haven't been able to get a freezer stash or anything. I'm literally just like 2 bottles ahead of her. So it gives me anxiety to not have more than that at one time. But anyways, So I am learning as I go and just trying to figure out how this all works and how to make it, you know, it is a lot of work. It is, and it's exhausting sometimes, but I want to make it as stress-free and smooth and routine-like as I possibly can so that I can provide the best for my daughter. So that is a little bit about where I am with exclusive pumping. I will probably do updates on this every once in a while. I think it's something that needs to be talked about. As I was reading online, a lot of people say, you know, people ask you if it's breast or bottle, and you're like, well, I am breastfeeding, but it's different. Like, where does the exclusive pumper fall into? Especially if, you know, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like, it's weird to be a stay-at-home mom and an exclusive pumper. You know, they expect that if you're a working mom or something, but I work from home. I'm with her all the time, and yet every feeding, you know, is a struggle because she's crying while I'm trying to pump, or I'm trying to feed her and pump at the same time, and it's just not, it's not what I ever imagined it to be. So it's still something that I'm wrapping my mind around, but it is the way it is right now. So anyways, if you have pumping tips or experience or websites or anything, let me know what those are in the comments below. I will try to link a couple of sites that I found really helpful in the description below. And yeah, that is the beginning of our exclusive pumping journey. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.